Traders! Stop forcing trades in the middle of a range and pay close attention. Bitcoin and Ethereum are at a point where time frames are conflicting. On the higher time frames, structure still looks good. But on the weekly, there are clear warning signs. This is where traders get caught in the noise, unless they understand context, liquidity, and order flow. But before we get into the charts, let's talk about what's happening on the macro side, because it explains who is actually positioning right now. Let's go! First, something very important just happened. An OG whale has opened a $112 million Bitcoin long position. That's not noise. That's conviction. I mean, you have to wonder who has the cojones to open up a position that big and bet on this long side. If this market was as uncertain as everyone likes to make it out to be, I don't think you'd have guys coming in with that type of conviction. I mean, these guys, they don't play to lose. And when you bet that big, you must know something. I mean, that's how the theory goes anyway. At the same time, the whale who was known for selling 255 Bitcoin short has now completely flipped. This same trader has opened massive long positions worth over $310 million. Just look at some of these numbers. Over 1,200 Bitcoin, around 109 million, over 32,000 Ethereum, over 100 million, and so on. I mean, these numbers are nuts. This trader's total profits now exceed $9.4 million. That's not retail behavior. That's experienced capital positioning ahead of something, people. I wonder who this is. Who do you think this is in the comments? Let me know. Could it be Nancy Pelosi? How about your friend Barron? Let me know, people. And on top of that, strategy, stock ticker MSTR, you know who that belongs to, has now gotten bigger than EA Sports and became the 208th largest public company in the United States. Let that sink in. A Bitcoin treasury company is now larger than one of the most iconic gaming brands in the world. You see what I mean? I don't mess around, bro. So, while price looks uncertain, big money is quietly leaning long. And now, let's see how all of this lines up with the charts. As always, let's start with the Bitcoin monthly chart, the chart that I check almost every other video. Bitcoin is still bullish overall. The macro structure is still intact. Higher highs, higher lows, all over the place. Nothing on the monthly suggests a trend change. This is still a bullish market from a macro perspective. And you can see we have two scenarios to consider, and both of them are likely to be bullish. Don't be fooled by short-term weakness that appears to be bearish on a bigger picture when you're dealing with a broader bullish trend. Something to keep in mind, people. Now, when we move to the weekly, the picture becomes much more nuanced. Price has reached the top of the trend line, and because of that, there are bearish objectives sitting below. This doesn't mean price has to sell off, but it does mean risk exists on this time frame. And this is why we always trade with context, not bias. On the daily chart, Bitcoin has tapped back into the consolidation zone from which price initially broke out. From here, we have two scenarios. Either we get another breakout in continuation, or price pulls back following the weekly bearish objectives. This level decides the next move. And what's important here is this. Right now, price is pushing into the higher part of the consolidation and showing hesitation or spinning tops. This is a bullish sign. Keep in mind, consolidations, especially the midpoints, act as support or resistance levels after the breakout. So if price happens to probe lower, you should be looking for bullish reversals. There's really nothing bearish about this. On the 4-hour chart, things played out perfectly. Bitcoin reacted exactly from the key level I talked about in my previous video. Liquidity was swept, and price pushed higher once again. This is textbook bullish behavior on lower time frames. The fact that the old resistance has become a new support should prompt you to be looking for reversal patterns and confirmations on smaller time frames. On the 2-hour time frame, Bitcoin came back into our marked bullish order block, took liquidity, then moved higher. What makes this more interesting is that this move happened right after major news. This tells us buyers are stepping in with confidence. Once again, pay attention to the formation. No new lows. Yes, lower high, but no new lows. As long as this low is maintained, you have to watch for bullish reversals in this area. Now, let's look at Ethereum on the daily time frame. As you can see here, it has failed to hold our key level as support, which signals short-term weakness. Because of that, price now looks like it's moving back toward the major trend line that has supported Ethereum multiple times previously. Historically, this is where bullish recoveries begin. Remember, this is a higher low, and higher lows often lead to higher highs. But if it breaks a little bit lower, you may get a failed low, followed by a higher low, as this illustration suggests. You can see that here very clearly. On the Ethereum 4-hour chart, price has pulled back into the $3,000 key level. From here, there are two possibilities. If daily context plays out, price may pull back further toward the daily trend line. And from there, on the lower time frames, inside a demand zone or bullish order block. That's where we look for long opportunities. This is patience, people. Patience compared to reacting. Now, let's talk about my live challenge. As I mentioned in the previous video, I'm running a fully transparent $10,000 to $100,000 challenge. That's right, live in real time. No hindsight, no hidden trades, everything documented, and no funny business. Check this out. I've taken my first trade. It was on render. On the left side of the chart, we had a clear choach, a change in character. I was prepared for a bullish entry as soon as price reached my level. Initially, I was looking at a 2-to-1 reward risk ratio, but as the trade developed, structure continued to be strong, so I adjusted for a greater profit objective. I exited around $2.30, locking in roughly $382 in profit. No emotions, just following my plan and leaving everything else up to the market. To track every trade during this challenge, I'm using a platform called Profitz Precision. It's a great tool for journaling, reviewing performance, and staying on the right track. The link for that will also be in the description if you want to check that out real quick. So, when we zoom out, Bitcoin monthly continues to be bullish. Weekly has bearish price objectives we must respect. Daily is at a decision point. Lower time frames are showing bullish reactions. Ethereum is pulling back to a historically strong trend line, and whales are opening hundreds of millions in long positions. This market isn't random. It's fear on the surface, but confidence within. The strongest moves don't start with excitement. They start with decisions. Right now, price is sitting at levels that matter, and structure is doing the talking. So let price confirm and respect the time frame. And if you want to follow the 10K to 100K challenge live, get real-time updates, and see how I'm navigating these markets as the environment changes, I've linked my free private Telegram in the description. That's where I share key levels before they play out, live market updates, and everything relevant to the challenge. And it's completely free. It's where the real conversation happens. So the link's in the description. I'll see you there.